The small scout ship crashed into the dense forest of planet Nex-7. Smoke rose from the broken metal parts inside Captain Jiwoo. Kim tried to get free from the twisted seat. Her head hurt and blood ran down her face. She looked around to see what she could use. The emergency call box was broken and she could not send messages to her people. She was alone on this alien world with no help coming. Jiwoo was flying her small ship on a normal check when the Apex attacked her. The Apex were tall, lizard-like aliens who ruled this part of space. They were mean and scary hunters with sharp claws and very good eyes and ears. They were not the strongest, but they had many soldiers and were very smart fighters. She took what food, water, and tools she could find from her ship and walked out into the strange forest. The air felt wet and heavy, and odd sounds came from the tall trees above her. From what she knew, humans could live on this heavy world better than most aliens could. Humans were called Deathworlders by other space people. Earth was a hard place to live. It had strong pull to the ground, big hot and cold changes, and many dangers. This made humans have strong muscles, great staying power, and the skill to change and learn fast. Many aliens might be stronger or faster, but few could match how tough humans were all around. When it got dark, Jiwoo heard something moving in the bushes. She got low to the ground using what she learned in her soldier training. A group of Apex walked through the trees. Their skin with scales shined in the light from the moons. She counted 20 all with big guns looking in a clear pattern. They were hunting for her target is a female human, the leader said in their clicking talk, which Jiwoo's ear tool changed to words. She can be seen as very danger, even though small Captain Dojin wants her alive for questions. Jiwoo's heart beat fast. Captain Dojin was known for being mean to people he caught. She must not let them take her, but with her. Guns lost in the crash and 20 trained soldiers looking for her. She did not have many choices. She thought about her time at the Earth Defense Force school. Her teacher, Commander Ha-Jun, always said, "When they have more fighters, use the land around you. When they have more guns, use your brain. When they have more people, make them fight how you want." Jiwoo smiled even though she was in danger. The Apex thought humans were danger for good reason. They never caught a human soldier alive. And she would not be the first. She did not need guns to fight them. Her knowledge would be enough. As the Apex came closer, Jiwoo moved quiet into the dark. She was not just running away. She was planning her first move in a game where the rules helped her. Enemies. But they did not know what a human from Earth, a true Deathworlder, could do when in a hard spot. On the second day, Jiwoo found out more about this world. She tested plants and found many could be used as tools. Some had juice that could make aliens sick, others could make good rope or traps. She dug up roots that were safe to eat and found water in the stems of wide leaf plants. The Apex kept looking, but they did not know how to track in this forest. They were space people who did not spend time in wild places. She watched as they made many mistakes. They left clear marks where they walked. They talked too loud, and they did not look up where Jiwoo often hid in the trees. When the sun was high, Jiwoo saw 2 Apex stop by a small pool to drink. One said to the other, "Do you think we will find this human today?" The other said with proud talk, "She is just one small female with no gun or ship. We will catch her before dark. Then Captain Dojin can make her talk about Earth plans." Jiwoo smiled. They still did not get what they were hunting. They thought of her as weak prey, not a danger fighter. She was going to show them why that was wrong. Humans did not just use guns and ships. They used their minds and what they could find around them. That night she crawled close to the Apex camp to listen. 23 of them were there now. Captain Dojin had come from the big ship. He was tall for an Apex with dark green scales and a long scar down his face. He looked mad as he talked to his hunters. "You are the best hunters in the Apex Force," he said with anger. "Yet one small human keeps away from you. She has no gun, no help, and no ship. How can she still be free?" His eyes glowed red in the firelight. "Find her before the next sun, or you will all be sent to the ice mines." Jiwoo moved back into the trees. She needed to make them fear her, but she did not want to kill them if she could help it. War between humans and the Apex would be bad for both sides. She just wanted to make them see that humans were not easy to beat. The next day she set her first trap. She found a clearing where the Apex would walk and dug a deep hole. She covered it with sticks and leaves. Then she left clear marks that a human went that way. Soon 3 Apex followed her trail and one fell into her trap. He was stuck but not hurt. The others helped him out, looking scared now. By the fourth day, Jiwoo had made the apex change. How they hunted, they now moved in groups of 4 with guns ready. They jumped at small sounds and looked at every shadow she had got into their heads, making them scared. This was better than any gun she could have had. She found a vine that made good rope and set more traps. These did not hurt the apex, but caught them in nets, or tied their feet, making them stuck for hours while their friends had to help them. The apex had never fought someone who used the world as a weapon. They did not know how to fight back. Captain Dojin got more mad each day the human female made. His best hunters looked stupid. They had caught animals and people all over the space worlds, but this one small human made them seem like new learners with no skills. He called his second leader. Sergeant Minji, this human knows too much about living. In wild places, Minji said she uses the land in ways we do not know. We are space hunters, not forest people. Maybe we should call more help. No, Dojin said with anger. I will not let my hunters be beat by one human. We will catch her. We will make her talk, and then I will show all humans that they are not as great as they think. But Jiwoo was always one step ahead. She had been in hard spots before, in her years as a scout. She had lived through 3 crashes, a prison camp, and a month alone on a ice world. This forest was not so bad. It had food, water, and many tools she could use. She just had to keep thinking and watching. When the apex set up sound tools to hear her steps, Jiwoo walked on tree branches above them when they used heat tools. To find her body heat, she covered herself in cool mud when they tried to catch her smells. She used strong plant juice to hide her scent day by day. The apex got more tired, more scared, and more mad. They were used to fast hunts with big guns, not this slow mind game with a human who seemed to know all their moves before they made them. Some began to say they should leave this world, that the human was not worth this much work. For Jiwoo, each day made her more sure she could win this fight. Not with force, but with smart moves. The apex were good fighters, but they did not know how to change their plans when things went wrong. Humans were the kings and queens of change. That was why Earth people had lived through so much and would keep living no matter what came at them. The Deathworlder girl against 20 apex hunters seemed like a fight with clear end. But the apex did not know who they were really fighting. They would learn soon, and the story of what one human could do would make all apex fear the Deathworlders. By the 5th day, Jiwoo had changed from the hunted to the hunter. She knew the forest. Now she had made a small home in a big tree with good views of the apex camp. She had maps in her head of all water spots, plant places, and paths through the thick trees. She was no longer scared, but ready to fight back. The morning sun made the dew shine on leaves as Jiwoo watched 4 apex soldiers fill their water bottles at the stream. They talked in loud voices, not worried about who might hear them. They did not think one small human girl could hurt them. They had big guns and armor, while she had nothing but her hands and brain. Silly lizards, Jiwoo thought. They think guns make them strong. They forget that humans lived for many years before we had. Big space guns. We made it through ice times, great floods, and big space rocks hitting Earth by using our mind. After the apex left the stream, Jiwoo came down from her tree spot. She had spent 2 days testing plants near the water. She found that pink flowers that grew by the stream had juice that made her feel dizzy when she touched it to her tongue. She had seen small animals drink water where these flowers dropped in, and they walked in circles. After now, she crushed many pink flowers and put their juice in the stream where it would flow to where the apex got their water. The juice had no color and no smell. They would not know it was there until they drank it, and by then it would be too late. Jiwoo then climbed a tall tree to watch what would happen at the apex camp soon. She saw 3 soldiers start to walk funny. They fell down and could not get upright. Others tried to help them but did not know what was wrong. Captain Dojin came from his tent, his face showing anger and fear. It has to be the human. He yelled at his helpers. She is using plant poison. She knows this world better than we thought. This was not true. Jiwoo just knew basic things about plants and what they might do to bodies. It was simple test and learn something all human children did, but the apex were not used to this kind of fight. That night, Jiwoo moved closer to the camp. The apex now had guards all around watching for her, but they looked out, not up. Humans always looked up. It was part of being from Earth, where dangers came from all sides. The treetops gave her a path right to the edge of the camp. She saw Captain Dojin talk to his fighters. She used her ear tool to hear what they said. This human is not using normal fight ways. He told them she is using mind tricks. She wants us scared and making wrong moves. We are apex hunters. We will not be scared by a small Earth girl, but Jiwoo could see the fear in their eyes. They were the top hunters in their world used to being, the ones who made others afraid. Now they were the ones jumping at sounds and looking over their backs. It was a new feeling for them and they did not like it. Sergeant Minji stepped up to talk. She was smaller than the males, but had a mean look. Her scales were dark blue with black spots and her eyes never stopped moving, looking for danger. We must change our plan, she said to Dojin. We keep looking for her, but she finds us first. We need to make her come to us. How do we do that? Dojin asked with angry voice. She has no friends here. No one we can use to make her show up. She needs nothing from us. She needs to get off this world, Minji said. Her ship is broken, but she will want to call her people or take one of our ships. We should put guards at her crash site and at our landing spot and wait for her to come to us. Dojin made a sound like he was thinking, then said yes. We will do this. Make it happen. Jiwoo smiled in her tree. This was good. They would split their group to watch two places. That would make it easier for her to deal with them in small numbers. She had no plan to take their ships. She would wait for the Earth rescue that would come when she did not report back. But the Apex did not need to know that. For 2 more days, Jiwoo watched as the Apex split into 3 groups. One stayed at the main camp, one went to her crash site, and one went to their landing place. Now she could work on each small group and make them even more afraid. She went to the crash site group. First there were 6 Apex there with big guns. They had made a circle around her broken ship and stood watching all sides, but not the ground. Jiwoo had found a red root that burned the skin when crushed. She dug under the ground from far away and put the root pieces under where the Apex stood. Then she made a noise in the trees. The Apex all looked to the sound and moved a few steps, and then began to jump and cry out. As the red root touched their feet through their boots, they ran from there, some falling down as the burning got worse. Jiwoo used this time to get into her ship and take more tools and food. She also found her backup radio that still worked a little. She could now send short sounds to the Earth ships that might come. Looking next, she went to the Apex landing place where 7 more soldiers were on guard. They had set up small sleep spots and had a fire going. Jiwoo had found that big flying bugs on this world did not like smoke from some wood type she found. This special wood and threw small pieces into their fire from far away. Soon the air was full of angry bugs that bit the Apex soldiers, making them run and hide. By the 8th day, the Apex force was tired and scared. They had lost 6 soldiers too. The pink flower water 3 had bad burns on their feet from the red root. 5 had bumps all over from bug bites and 2 had fallen into traps. Jiwoo had dug. Only 9 were still able to fight, and they stayed close to Captain Dojin at the main camp. Jiwoo knew it was time to make her big move. She had watched how the Apex used their radio tools to talk to each other. The Earth Army had studied Apex tools for years and taught soldiers how they worked at night. She snuck into the camp again and found their main radio. She did not break it but changed how it worked so it would send wrong words in the morning. When Dojin tried to call his soldiers at the crash site and landing place, the radio sent different words than what he said. He was saying come back to camp, but the radio sent go north fast. Human seen there, 5 of his soldiers left their watching spots and went the wrong way. This made Dojin so mad he threw the radio and broke it. Now he could not talk to his split up soldiers at all. Jiwoo watched from a tree and smiled. Her plan was working well. The Apex force was now down to just 9 soldiers at the main camp, and they could not call for help. Their big ship would not send more help until the daytime was up, and that was still 10 days away by then. She would have made them all give up. That day she set her biggest trap, yet she had seen that big herd animals came to drink at a lake not far from the Apex camp. She spent hours making them scared with noise and smoke, moving them toward where the Apex were. The animals were very big with sharp horns. They could run fast when scared as the sun was going down. Jiwoo made her last big sound and the herd ran right at the Apex camp. The ground shook as hundreds of heavy animals ran in fear. The Apex saw them coming and tried to stop them with gunfire, but there were too many. The soldiers had to run and climb trees to be safe. Their tents were all crushed, their food was lost, and their camp was gone. When quiet came back, only Captain Dojin and 3 soldiers were still at the meeting place. The others had run off in fear or were hurt by the big animals. Dojin stood in the broken camp, his eyes full of hate. She is not just a human girl now, he said. To his last helpers, she is a demon from Earth. Stories she fights with the world itself as her weapon. But I will still catch her. But his helpers did not look sure. One said, "Sir, maybe we should call the big ship and ask for more help. This human is not like any we have hunted before, never." Dojin said, "I will not tell the leaders I could not catch one small human. I will find her and I will make her sorry." Jiwoo listened from her safe spot and knew that Dojin was now the danger one. A scared and angry fighter would do crazy things. She would need to be more careful now, but she was still winning this fight. A human girl with no gun against 20 apex hunters, and now only 4 were left, and they were tired, hungry, and scared. She had not hurt any of them bad, but she had shown them that humans were the real top hunters in this big space world. The morning of day 9 came with heavy rain that made the forest floor turn to mud. Captain Dojin stood with his 3 last good fighters looking at what was left of their camp. His scales were dull with no shine showing. He was tired and low on hope. Their food was mostly gone, their tools were broken, and the other soldiers were lost in the big forest. "We must find the others," Sergeant Minji said as she tried to fix a broken gun. "The human has made us weak by making us alone. We need our full team back." Dojin made an angry sound and kicked at the wet ground. "The human did this on purpose," he growled. "She knew we would split up, and then she made it so we could not find each other again. She is not just lucky, she plans every move." Jiwoo watched them from her hiding spot in a tall bush. The rain made it hard to see, but she could hear them with her ear tool. She felt a little sorry for them now. They were cold and wet and looked scared. She did not want to hurt them. She just wanted them to leave this world and tell their leaders that humans were not good to fight with. But she knew Dojin would not give up. He was too proud, too sure that he was the best hunter in space. He would keep trying to catch her until he won or died. Trying, she needed to make the last soldiers leave him and go back to their big ship without him, while the Apex tried to make a new dry camp. Jiwoo moved through the wet forest to find the lost soldiers. She knew they would be scared and alone now, with no leader, and no way to talk to each other using a bird call she had learned to copy. She made a sound like the Apex radio call. This would make the lost soldiers think their friends were near after 3 tries. She heard a sound back and found 2 Apex soldiers. Hiding in a cave, they were wet and hungry, and their guns had no power left. They jumped when they saw her but were too tired to try to catch her, Yushi said in their clicking talk. The first words she had said to any of them, "I am the human. You, hunt." The 2 Apex looked at each other, then back at her. One tried to seem brave, but his voice shook when he said, "We are not scared of you, human. Our captain will find us, and then you will be sorry." Jiwoo shook her head. "Captain Dojin does not look for you," she said. "He thinks only of catching me. He leaves you to die in this forest alone. He does not care if you live or die." The Apex soldiers did not want to believe her, but they could see she was not trying to hurt them. If she wanted to hurt them, she could have done it many times by now. "I can help you," she said. "I know where your landing ship is. I can lead you there." "Why would you help us?" one Apex asked. "You are our enemy." Jiwoo sat down on a rock to show she was not afraid of them. "I do not want to be your enemy," she said. "I just want to live and go home the same as you. I will help you get to your ship if you promise to leave this world and not come back." The 2 Apex talked to each other in low voices, then turned back to her. "We agree. They said we want to leave this place good." Jiwoo smiled. "I will lead you to your ship, but first help me find your other lost friends over the next day." Jiwoo and the 2 Apex, who said their names were Junho and Tael, found 5 more lost soldiers. All were happy to see each other, and to learn they could go home. Jiwoo led them on a long walk to where the Apex ship had landed. When they got there, she stayed in the trees and watched as the 7 Apex soldiers went inside their small ship and closed the door. She heard the engines start and saw the ship rise up through the air and into the sky toward the big Apex ship that waited above the world. She had done it. She had made 7 enemies into 7 people who just wanted to go home now. There were only 4 Apex left on the planet: Captain Dojin, Sergeant Minji, and 2 soldiers named Hyeri and Wu Jin. These 4 would be harder to deal with. They were the best fighters and the most loyal to Dojin, They would not leave without him, and he would not leave without catching Jiwoo. That night she snuck close to their new camp to listen to them talk. How could we lose so many soldiers to one human girl? Hyeri asked as she cleaned her gun. It makes no sense. She has no weapons, no help, and no ship. Dojin looked at her with mean eyes. She uses her brain. He said a thing you seem to not have. She turns the world into her weapon, the plants, the animals, the weather. She knows how to use all of them. Humans are Deathworlders for a reason. They lived on the hardest world in space. They had to learn how to live through all dangers or die. Butzer Woojin said, "Why fight her more? We are only 4 now, and she knows this world better than us. Maybe we should go back to the big ship and tell the leaders what we learned about humans." Never. Dojin stood up tall. "I will not say. I lost to one small human girl. My family has been top hunters for 10 lifetimes. I will not be the first to fail." Jiwoo moved away from their camp and went back to her tree home. She needed to think of a new plan. These last 4 would not be fooled easy. They were smart, and they were watching for her tricks now. She needed to do something they would not think of. She spent the next day making a new tool from things she found in the forest: a small tube made from hard wood, a sticky gum from tree sap, and small hard seeds. She had seen that the apex had better eyes than humans, but their ears were very good too. They could hear things humans could not. This could be used against them. When night came again, she moved to a spot near the apex camp, but not too close there. She used her new tool to shoot small seeds at trees and rocks around the camp. The seeds made small tap sounds that the apex could hear, but could not see what made them. The sounds came from all sides at different times. The apex jumped up with their guns ready. "Who is there?" Minji called. "Show yourself." "No." One answered, but the small sounds kept coming from all around them. The apex shot their guns at shadows but hit nothing. They wasted power and made themselves more scared for 3 nights. Jiwoo did this, making the apex stay awake and waste their gun power on nothing by day. 4 they were so tired they could not think right. They fell asleep during the day and jumped at every sound. Their eyes were dull and their moves were slow. Now was the time for Jiwoo to make her big move. She had found a deep mud pit near a river. She made a clear path leading to it with marks that looked like she had run that way. Then she made a sound near the apex camp like someone falling and hurting their leg. Dojin heard it and woke up the others. "The human is hurt," he said. "This is our chance to catch her. Follow me." The 4 apex ran after Dojin, following the fake path Jiwoo had made. They were so happy to think they might win now that they did not look careful at the ground. They ran fast, and all 4 ran right into the deep mud pit. They tried to get out, but the mud was too thick. They were stuck up to their chests. Jiwoo came out from behind a tree and stood where they could see her. "You are stuck," she said. "The mud will not kill you, but you cannot get out alone." Dojin tried to reach his gun, but it was under the mud. "You tricked us," again he said with hate. "You are not hurt." "I am not hurt," Jiwoo said, "and I am not mean. I will help you out of the mud, but first you must agree to leave this world and tell your leaders that humans are not to be hunted. We are not your enemies unless you make us son ever." Dojin said, "I will die here in this mud before I say a human beat me," but the others did not feel the same way. "We want to live." Hyeri said, "We agree to your terms." Human Jiwoo nodded and threw them a long vine she had made from forest plants. They could use it to pull themselves out, but it would take many hours and they would be too tired to try to catch her after us. She walked away. She heard Dojin yell, "I will find you, human girl. I will not stop until I catch you." Jiwoo smiled. She had a plan for him too. The proud apex captain would learn the hard way why humans were the most feared people in space. They were not the biggest or strongest, but they were the smartest, and they never gave up. Day 12 came with clear sky and hot sun. Jiwoo sat by a small stream cleaning the mud from her clothes and thinking about her next move. She had sent 7 apex home and caught the last 4 in a mud trap. But she knew that would not stop Captain Dojin. He was too proud, too sure that he was better than any human. She needed to show him that he was wrong in a way he could not ignore. As she sat there, her small radio tool made a sound. This was new. It had been quiet since she crashed. She picked it up and heard a voice. "Captain Kim." This is Earth Ship Guardian. We got your crash signal and are 3 days from your spot. Can you talk? Jiwoo felt happy for the first time in many days. She was not alone now. Help was coming, but she still had to live through 3 more days with an angry Apex captain hunting her. She pushed the talk button on her radio. This is Captain Kim. She said, I am alive. But there are Apex hunters here, 1 ship left. But Captain Dojin is still here with 3 soldiers. The voice came back. We know about the Apex. Our long sea tools show their big ship above the world. We will come fast, but stay safe till then. Guardian out. Jiwoo put the radio in her pocket. Earth help was coming, but she still had to deal with Dojin. He would be more mad now that his soldiers left and the others were stuck in mud. He would hunt her with all his hate and skill. And she was getting tired after so many days running and hiding. She went back to her tree home to rest, but found it was not safe. Dojin had been there. Her things were broken, and he had left marks on the tree that said, I know where you hide now, human. I am coming for you. Jiwoo knew she had to move, find a new safe spot before dark came, but as she was climbing down, she heard a sound and looked to see Sergeant Minji pointing a gun at her. Do not move, human, the Apex woman said, or I will shoot you. Jiwoo stayed still and looked at Minji. The Apex soldier was covered in dry mud and looked very tired. Her gun shook in her hand and her scales were dull with no shine. How did you get out of the mud pit so fast? Jiwoo asked. Minji made a sound like a laugh. We are Apex hunters, she said. We know how to get out of traps. We have hunted on 100 worlds and caught 1,000 dangers. You are just one more. Where are the others? Jiwoo asked, still not moving. They come. Minji said, Captain Dojin will be here soon. Then you will wish you had let us catch you on the first day. He is very angry now. He will not be nice. To you, Jiwoo knew she had to get away before Dojin came. She looked at Minji and saw how tired the Apex woman was. The gun was shaking more now, and her eyes looked heavy. You look tired, Jiwoo said softly. Why not sit down? You can still point the gun at me, but you can rest too. Minji seemed to think about this, then slowly sat down on a fallen tree. Her gun still pointed at Jiwoo. Why do you not seem scared, human? She asked. You are caught now. You should be afraid. Jiwoo smiled. I am not caught yet, she said, and I am not afraid of you. Apex, the Earthship Guardian, is coming in 3 days to get me. You can shoot me, but then my people will be very angry. They might even start a war with your people. Is that what you want? Minji looked worried. No, she said, we do not want war with humans. We just want to know more about you, to see if you are a danger to us. Humans are not danger unless you make us danger. Jiwoo said, we want to live in peace and learn and grow. But if you attack us, we will fight. Back hard as they talked. The sun moved in the sky, making the shadows long. Jiwoo knew Dojin would come soon. She needed to get away, but Minji still had the gun on her. Then she had an idea. The Apex were good hunters, but they did not know much about humans. Minji, Jiwoo said softly. I need to tell you something about humans. Come closer so I can say it. Quiet. The Apex woman looked confused, but moved a little closer. What is it, human? She asked. Jiwoo took a deep breath, then made the loudest high sound. She could write at Minji. The Apex had very good ears and the sound hurt them a lot. Minji dropped her gun and put her hands over her ear holes, screaming in pain. Jiwoo jumped up and ran fast into the forest as Minji fell to the ground, rolling in. Jiwoo ran for a long time, going up and down hills, through streams and over fallen trees. She wanted to make a path no one could follow when she could not run more. She stopped and hid in a cave behind a small fall of water. She was safe for now, but Dojin would not stop looking. For the next day, Jiwoo stayed in her cave, hiding and resting. She used the time to make new tools from things she found near the cave. She made a knife from hard stone, a bag from big leaves, and a rope from tree bark. She made a fire to keep warm and cooked some roots and fruits she had found. She also used the small radio to talk to the Earthship again. They were now 2 days away, and they knew about the Apex ship staying above the world. They told her to stay hidden and safe until they came, but it would not be that easy. On day 14, Jiwoo left her cave to find food and saw smoke from a fire. Not far away, she went slow and quiet to see what it was, and found Captain Dojin sitting alone by a small fire. He looked bad. His scales were falling off from the mud, and he was thin and tired, but his eyes still had fire in them. He was cleaning his big knife and talking to himself. I will find you, human girl. He said to the fire, I will show you that no one beats Captain Dojin. No one makes my soldiers leave. No one tricks me and lives. I am the best hunter in all space worlds. I will not lose to you. Jiwoo moved back quiet, but stepped on a stick that broke with a loud sound. Dojin jumped up and saw her there. He shouted and ran at her with his knife out. Jiwoo turned and ran, but Dojin was fast, even tired and hungry. He was still a top hunter. She ran as fast as she could, but he stayed close behind her. She jumped over fallen trees and ran through thorn bushes, but he kept coming. Then she saw the river ahead. It was wide and fast with big rocks. She had a plan, but it was danger. She ran straight at the river, and at the edge she jumped as far as she could. She landed on a rock in the middle and nearly fell in, but caught herself. Then she jumped to the next rock and the next until she was across. Dojin stopped at the edge of the river. Apex did not like water and could not swim well. He growled in anger, but then started to follow her, jumping from rock to rock, but he was bigger and the rocks were wet. He slipped on the third rock and fell into the fast water. Jiwoo watched as Dojin was pulled under and then came up far down river, hanging onto a big branch that stuck out from the bank. She could leave him there to die, but that was not the human way. She ran along the bank until she was near him. Then she threw her rope to him. Grab it. She called, I will pull you out. Dojin looked at her with hate in his eyes. I will not take help from a human, he said. I would rather die, you are stupid. Jiwoo said, if you die, your people will never know what you learned about humans. They will make the same mistakes, and more Apex will die. Is that what you want? Dojin thought about her words, then reached out and took the rope. Jiwoo pulled hard and helped him get to the bank. He lay there breathing hard and looking at her with eyes that still showed hate, but also something new. Maybe a small respect? Why did you save me? He asked. When he could talk, I would have killed you. Humans are not like Apex, Jiwoo said. We do not need to kill to win. I have shown you and all your soldiers that humans are smart and strong. Even with no weapons, I have shown that we can beat you without hurting you. That is the real power. Dojin looked at her for a long time, then said, The Earthship comes soon. Yes, Jiwoo said. And then I will go home and you can go back to your people. What will you tell them about humans? I will tell them the truth. Dojin said that humans are more danger than we knew, that they can make worlds fight for them, that they do not need guns to win. I will tell them to stay away from Earth and let humans live in peace. Jiwoo nodded. That is good, she said then. You have learned something from all this. We can both live in this big space world. There is room for Apex and humans if we do not fight. Dojin stood up slow and looked at her one last time, then turned and walked away into the forest. Jiwoo watched him go. He was still danger, but he was also beat. His pride was hurt, but he was alive, and he would tell his people about humans. And maybe that would stop a big war before it started. The last day on the alien world dawned bright and clear. Jiwoo sat on a high rock looking at the sky. The Earthship Guardian would come today and take her home. She felt tired but happy. She had lived through 2 weeks on a strange world. She had faced 20 Apex hunters with guns and armor, when she had nothing but her mind and the things she found around her, and she had won. Her radio made a noise and she picked it up. Captain Kim, this is Guardian. We will land in 3 hours at the spot you told us about. Is it safe to come down? Jiwoo smiled and pushed the talk button. Yes, she said, it is safe now. The Apex are gone, but stay ready just in case. As she put the radio away, she heard a sound from the trees. She turned fast, ready to run, but it was not Dojin. It was Sergeant Minji. The Apex woman looked very bad. Her scales were dull and some were missing. Her clothes were torn and she was thin from many days with little food. Human, the Apex woman said in a tired voice. I come with no weapon. I want to talk. Jiwoo stayed where she was, not sure if this was a trick. She had hurt Minji's ears bad with her loud sound, and the Apex might want to hurt her back. What do you want to talk about, Minji? She asked. The Apex woman sat down on a rock and looked at Jiwoo with sad eyes. I want to know why you saved Captain Dojin from the river. She said he told me what you did. You could have let him die and been safe, but you helped him. Why? Jiwoo thought about this. It was a good ask. Humans and Apex were very different in how they thought. It is the human way, she said. At last, we do not need to kill to win. We try to help even our enemies if we can. It makes us stronger. Not weaker. Minji shook her head. Humans are strange, she said. On our world, the strong eat the weak. The winner takes all and the loser dies. That is how we grew to be the best hunters in all space. That may be true on your world, Jiwoo said. But on Earth we learned that working together and helping each other made us all stronger. Even the ones who seem weak can have good ideas or skills that help the group. Humans who tried to do all things alone did not live long. The Apex woman seemed to think about this for a long time. I have been with Captain Dojin for 10 years, she said at last. I have seen him kill many danger things on many worlds. He has never lost a hunt until he met you. But you did not kill him when you could. You did not even hurt him bad. Jiwoo stood up and walked closer to Minji. I did not want to kill anyone, she said. I just wanted to show that humans are not easy to beat, that we can be strong in ways you do not know. I wanted Dojin to tell your leaders to leave Earth alone, that humans are not good to fight with, and he will tell them. Minji said he has called the big ship to come get us in 2 days. He is not happy. He lost, but he is not stupid. He knows what he saw, and he will tell our leaders the truth, that humans are more danger than we knew before. Jiwoo felt happy at this news. Maybe there would not be a war between humans and Apex after all. Maybe they could learn to live in peace, share the big space, and learn from each other. Where is Dojin now? She asked. Minji pointed to the east. He waits at the old camp. She said he sent me to find you. He wants to talk to you before you leave. Our leaders will ask him many things about humans, and he wants to know more to tell them. Jiwoo did not trust this. It could be a trap. Dojin might still want to catch her and take her to his ship. I do not think that is good, she said. My ship comes soon. I should stay here and wait. Just then her radio made a sound again. Captain Kim, this is Guardian. We are in space above you. Now we see the Apex ship too. It is not moving, but we are ready if they try to fight. Jiwoo pushed the talk button and said, Guardian, can you see where I am now? Yes, the voice said. We see you, and we see 2 Apex near you, and one more about 1 walk hour to the east. We can land now, if you want. Jiwoo looked at Minji, then said to the radio, wait 1 hour, then land at the spot we talked about. I need to do one more thing first. She put the radio away and said to Minji, take me to Dojin. I will talk to him, but know that my ship watches from above. If you try to hurt me, they will know and they will hurt you. Bad Minji stood up. I will not hurt you, human, she said. You could have hurt me many times and did not. You are strange, but you are not bad. They walked for a long time through the forest, going down hills and over streams until they came to the old Apex camp. It looked very bad now. The tents were all broken. The fire was out and there was just one person there. Captain Dojin sat on a fallen tree, his big knife in his hand, cutting small marks into the wood. Jiwoo walked into the open space and said, I am here, Dojin. You wanted to talk to me, the Apex captain. Looked up. His yellow eyes still had fire in them, but not the same as before. He looked tired and maybe a little sad too. You came. He said, I did not think you would. My ship comes in 1 hour. Jiwoo said they can see us from above, so do not try to catch me. It will not work, and it will only make more bad things happen. Tell me what you want. Dojin put his knife down and looked at her for a long time. You are the first thing I could not catch in 20 years of hunting. He said, you made my best hunters run away like scared babies. You turned the world against us, and you did it all with no gun, no ship, and no help. Jiwoo just stood quiet and let him talk. The Apex captain stood up and walked in a small circle. I must tell my leaders about humans. Now, he said, they want to know if you are danger to us, if we should fight you or stay away. I need to tell them right. Tell them that humans want peace. Jiwoo said, we do not want to fight you or take your worlds, but we will not let you take ours. Tell them that humans are strong in ways they do not know. Yet we use our minds, not just our guns. We work together and help each other, and that makes us hard to beat. Dojin nodded his head. I will tell them this, he said. But I want to know one more thing. How did you beat us? What is the one thing that made you win? Jiwoo thought about this. It was a hard ask. She had used many skills and tricks, but what was the main one that let her win? I think it was that I could change and you could not. She said at last, you hunt the same way on all worlds. You use the same moves, the same plans. You are very good at what you do. But when something new comes, you do not know how to change. Humans change all the time. We try new things, we learn fast, we see what works and what does not, and we fix it. The Apex captain made a low sound like he was thinking. I see, he said. You are like water that goes around a rock while we are like a tree that tries to fight the wind and breaks us. Jiwoo said that is a good way to say it. Dojin looked at her one more time, then did something that made Jiwoo step back in shock. He got down on one knee and put his knife on the ground in front of her. The apex sign of giving up to a better fighter human Deathworlder. He said in a strong, clear voice, "You have beat me fair. I will tell my people that Earth must be left alone, that humans are not to be hunted." Jiwoo felt strange seeing the proud apex captain on his knee to her. She had not wanted to shame him, just to make him see that humans were strong too. "You can stand, Dojin," she said. "We are not better than you. Just different. We can both live in this big space if we try." As they talked, a loud sound came from above, and they all looked up to see a big ship coming down through the clouds. The Earth ship Guardian had come at last. Jiwoo looked at Dojin and Minji and said, "My ride is here. I must go now. Will you be okay until your ship comes?" "Yes." Minji said, "We know how to live in this forest. Now we have learned from watching you." Jiwoo smiled, then said goodbye, and walked toward the clearing where the Guardian would land. The Earth ship was big and bright with the Earth flag on its side. As it touched down, the door opened, and Earth soldiers came out with guns ready. "Captain Kim," one called, "are you hurt?" "Do we need to shoot the Apex?" No, Jiwoo called back. "No one needs to shoot anyone. Today I am fine, and the Apex are not our enemies now." She turned back to look at Dojin and Minji one more time. They stood side by side, watching as the human girl who had beat their best hunters got ready to go home. The story of the human Deathworlder, girl who made an Apex hunting team give up without firing. One shot would be told on many worlds for many years. It would help keep peace between humans and Apex. And it would remind all space people that sometimes the quiet ones, the small ones, the ones with no big guns, can be the most danger of all.